is increasingly unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and is out for unchecked power.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump suggesting during a Glendale event that Republican critic Liz Cheney should face 9 barrels, a firing squad. Democratic nominee Kamala Harris condemning Trump's violent rhetoric the same day. The final days of an election campaign can get overheated, but Donald Trump took it to a new level, as you heard a moment ago with Chris Mays, the AG. Our politics panel steps in now to discuss what's at stake for Arizona and the country in this election. Joining us are Tony Connie, Democratic consultant at Slingshot Campaigns and a top official with the Biden Arizona campaign back in 2020, and Christine Jones, a lawyer and former Republican candidate for governor and Congress. Let's start again with that Trump bite, as I did with AG Mays in our first segment. Your reaction to Chris Mays investigating this as a potential death threat?
Well, as an attorney, I think she doesn't have a choice. She's, as she said, been in touch with the head of her criminal division. Obviously, nobody in the room at the time that this was spoken thought it was an actual death threat. It was likening Liz Cheney's position on war to how it might feel to be the target of having a gun trained at you. Sometimes Trump is inartful, so I think the end result of the investigation is there's no there. We do wish that Trump sometimes would be a little bit more careful with his words.
Tony?
I mean, I think that when you are, as a president, a former president, the things that you say really matter. And I just think that this continued overheated rhetoric is scary, and it should stop. I mean, whether or not it was artful or not, like there was another way he could have said it. There's just this rash of violence-tinged comments that are coming from the campaign that I think just need to stop.
And that came within a few hours of Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell announcing an indictment of a Phoenix man on terror charges for firing shots at a DNC office in Tempe. What do you believe personally are the stakes in this presidential election?
I mean, I think that this is a good example of what the stakes are. I do genuinely believe that Donald Trump is upset that he lost the 2020 election. He won't admit it, and that he has a list of people that he wants revenge. I think that is legitimately one of the things that we have to face if he wins. Aside from that, I just think that there's two very different visions for America that we're seeing. There's one that is about like opportunity, that is about giving people a hand up so that they can meet the American dream, and I think that's what Harris's agenda is all about. And I think with Donald Trump, it's more about these types of threats that he's been making, about retribution, about dividing people based on where they're from or who they love. And I think that those are the stakes in this election, and that's what voters are deciding.
Christine?
Yeah, I mean, I think we don't really have to wonder, because Donald Trump was the president for 4 years and Kamala Harris was the vice president for 4 years. We know demonstrably what their record is. We know that Donald Trump, when he says, I'm going to secure the border, went down and tried to secure the border. Kamala Harris got put in charge of the border. She didn't secure it. We know what happened with the economy under both of them. We don't really have to wonder about what I'm going to do on day one, which we hear a lot from the Harris campaign and from Harris herself, because day one was in 2021. I know she wants us to think it's in 2025, but it's not. So the stakes are clear. I think this notion of giving people the ability to live the American dream is way overstated with the president, because the president doesn't really impact that much. Your local officials and your town councils and your school boards probably impact that more. What does matter is avoiding, and this is critically important, particularly as a military family, the threat of getting into a serious conflict, including World War III, and that is the singular reason why people who wonder who they should vote for should be voting for Donald Trump, because the Biden administration simply has not performed well. They've gotten us involved in conflicts, and Trump has not done that. We didn't have a single solitary additional conflict that we got involved with in the 4 years that Donald Trump was the president. Hate him, dislike him, think he's a jerk, but he'll keep us safe.
You hate him, dislike him.
I didn't say that. I'm saying to people who don't want to vote for the guy, who don't want to vote for Harris, vote for safety and security, particularly for our former cadets who are on active duty right now, who are going to be put in harm's way.
Let's move on to, what do you think we're getting wrong about this election? With all the polling out there, all the chatter.
I think there's a lot of rhetoric right now about the ballot returns that are coming in and analyzing them by political party.
Yeah.
And a lot, you're hearing people say things like, historically, Democrats have dominated early vote, when history in this case means started in 2020, and every election before that, the history of Arizona, it was the other way around.
Yeah.
So I think that some of that analysis has been off. I mean, I think it's great that, you know, I'm excited that Donald Trump has finally decided to stop the conspiracy theories about early voting and has urged his supporters to vote early. So I think that that is a mistake for people to talk about it. And I think that in part of it, it's because there are certain elements of Donald Trump's support team that want Arizonans to believe that he's going to win no matter what, so that if he doesn't win, he's able to do the stuff he did in 2020.
Christine, the last word here.
Yeah, so I think one thing, and this might be controversial, we hear a lot, and maybe it's anecdotal, everybody thinks it's too divisive. Everybody thinks the rhetoric is too strong. People say to you personally, I wish people would just calm down, and the very next minute they go on social media and they say something hateful. What we're getting wrong here is every single human being who has an ability to vote has to take responsibility for calming the thing down. And yes, Republicans and Democrats now are both celebrating early voting. Congratulations to us. Calm down your rhetoric, people, yourself.
Got to end it there. Tony Connie, Christine Jones, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
When we come back, what's going to happen on Election Day here in Maricopa County? And what's going to happen after Election Day? I'll be joined by two journalists with the answers. But first, why a longtime Republican consultant who's Latino says Democrats and Republicans don't know how to talk to Latino voters. Stay with us.